Hello, I'm Derek Bailey. I'm a third generation farmer rancher located in Araby, Georgia. I've got around 20 years experience in the beef cow and row crop operations. We mainly do cattle and row crop. Our row crop consists of cotton, peanuts, corn, shelled, and silage corn. We try to produce 80% of our own forage for our own cattle on our operation. The main part of the cattle week that consists of is brood cows that can have a market ready calf in a short amount of time, or a cow that's good enough with enough genetic potential to be bred back and sold. On the stocker cattle part that we buy is usually in the fall of the months. Usually we start somewhere in September, October and run those cattle throughout the wintertime months where your gain is a lot easier, sickness is not as a big a concern, and we try to market those cattle about the spring of every year. We also do some order buying, where it be brood cows, beef cows, some stocker cattle at times. We do that throughout the year. We pretty much buy, purchase cattle, sell cattle all just about every month of the year, except during the hot months of June, July, August. It's usually typically a little slower. The cattle on the farm we have now consist of mostly just mama cows with calves or cows that are getting bred. We usually, when we buy these type of cattle, on stocker cattle, on brood cows, we try to shoot for a 20 to 40% ROI, return on investment, at one point or time or another on the cattle. We have a formula we use, we put in place with it. It's got a lot to do with the markets that, what we get from time to time. We use a formula there to put in what the input prices is, what the purchase price would be, plus all your expenses, and, barring any weather concerns or death loss or anything like that. And most time we can usually stay in that 20 to 40%, 40 being on the very high side, usually 20, 35 is usually our goal. We also do some hay production. As I said, we do corn silage for the cattle. We try to buy sparingly our proteins, more or less, sometimes our filler type feeds, which the proteins usually consist of ground corn, dried distiller's grain byproducts out of corn, ethanol plants, more or less, wet distillers. We will buy some peanut hulls, stuff like that. We try to make the most we can out of our hay crop, stretch it out, and then any byproducts that could be baled or possibly silage chopped, we use that to try to keep our feed costs down cheap, but also have plenty of feed to go around for all the cattle we have in and out here all during the year. Right now my operation consists of me and 2 other full-time employees, and then I have 2 other part-time employees. My wife, she handles a good bit of the bookkeeping. We operate out of Araby. We have leased pastures, we have purchased pastures, owned pastures that we run these cattle on. The lease pastures, more or less we have long-term type leases in place with them, owners and whatnot. Some of them we do have, potential to be able to purchase in the short term future, hopefully. Our equipment is pretty much up to date. We don't run too much, older type equipment, so we do have, a lot of fencing type needs and, parts, stuff like that to go with. We've comprised a video of just some short clips of me walking around, showing the farm, just trying to show some of the cattle, some of the row crop we have going on, just a lot of what our day-to-day operation is and what it consists of. Not a whole lot of hands-on work in cattle, just trying to go through and just show our setups more or less on our different farms we have that are all furthest farm we have from our home location is less than 30 miles. And most of the time those cattle typically just graze grass during the summer, and that's where they at. In the winter times when we keep all our cattle closer to, because we do a lot of hand feeding and mechanical feeding with mixer wagons and hay trailers and whatnot. But yeah, just we put this video together to just kind of give you an idea of what our operation looks like. Thank you.
The red dot on this map indicates the location of our business, as well as the green dots indicate the location of the sale barns and auctions that we work in Georgia. We also work one extra one in Dothan, Alabama during the week. This particular set of cows right here is some we're getting ready to turn out into some of our established pastures. We buy these cows being heavy bred cows, anywhere from 4 to 8 months bred. They're brought in for around vaccines. They're also checked for health issues, anything going wrong, feet, legs, bags, mouth, eyes. And we usually hold them in this pen here for a short amount of time. Being able to hold these cattle on this setup gives us time to really eyeball the cattle to see if they have any specific needs before we get turned out to the permanent pastures. These cows will be monitored, spreadsheets will be built, they'll be checked daily. This is another group of cattle in the same holding pen at a different date. I work with 2 other buyers, and between us we cover 8 to 9 sales per week. I believe we try to stay in front of the market and purchase cattle that are healthy, that will, make a good mama cow more or less. And we're able to get through and buy more of the genetically superior, gifted type animals that we look to turn out on this farm. This is a pen of cattle we bought for a client. We bring these cattle in per the client's request, and these cattle will be given, if they have a certain protocol of vaccines or medicine or ear tags, anything they need done to them. We do that upon request, and the cattle are held on a predetermined sale date, most time within a week or 2 or less when the cattle are brought in. We try to service these cattle the best way we know how. Another set of home-raised cattle we have here on the farm. They're good-looking ladies. Here's a crop of yearling bull and steer calves that we're growing out their own feed. We'll get them up a little bit bigger and sell the steers off and keep most all the bulls for replacement bulls to replace back our herd sires and just our breeding type bulls that we turn out with some of the cows we buy. Here's a group of cows in our home-raised pasture. Wife and kids are out here helping me call them up and feed them, check through them, and we try to baby these cattle. That makes it a lot easier with docility and getting the cattle just used to you, to where you can put your hands on them and they're a little more trustworthy, especially when they know you got feed in your hand. Here's a group of longhorns we have that we keep around to raise off roping type stock. Other farmers and ranchers. Hey, who doesn't need a set of longhorns in their life? We think they're pretty neat and special. We'll keep heifers to replace back off into the same pastures more or less, but very dominant breed, very versatile, heat tolerant. Very proud of these cattle. Here's a short slideshow of just what some of the cattle we've had on hand and been around the last year or so. Here's a video of our working facilities. Walking in here, we usually typically get the cattle in mostly on gooseneck ground load type trailers. They are dropped off here where they come into this barn. We have 2 big pens that we use once the cattle have been worked. We also have 4 interior pens plus 3 other smaller pens engulfing the barn that those cattle will just come in and sit, eat hay, drink water, not be stressed out, give them time to recoup from their hauling. Once they've done that, the cattle will have when we schedule a time, we'll bring those cattle up into these smaller pens. They'll be brought around and run up into a chute there that's humanely able to handle the cattle. And then whether it be bought cattle for a client, our own personal cattle, all the cattle will be looked at. They'll have new identifications put in, a spreadsheet built, and once that's done, they'll be moved on to the next bigger pen, and so on and so forth. We try to keep these cattle where they're very easily to be able to get back up to the barn to be able to be worked if need be. That way it helps ensure if we do have a medical type emergency with one, or just being able to be around a little bit, kind of gentle them up, get them used to us, and we also have time to get used to them. We also use this barn as one of our main shipping points. We bring these cows are used when we bring them into this barn. These pens are used as sorting pens, more or less. Whereas if we need to load semi-truck trailers, pot loads, we can do that. You'll see there we keep our medicine. We have it in a small confined building there with refrigeration, electricity, hot water if needed. We keep all our medical supplies in that one little room. And once the cattle, if it is a shipping day, those cattle get caught up, brought in that barn, sorted out whichever way they need to, and they get turned and headed back out through the loadout there. You'll see in a second. Go out that loadout, and if we're loading goosenecks, they'll stay on the ground. And right here at the end of the video, you'll see a kind of a ladder type walkway. We use that. We'll move that in place to let the cattle walk up into the back of the semi trucks, and we'll load trucks out from there pretty much weekly, just about, at certain times of the year. This video here shows our main shop that is located in close vicinity to our home location. This is pretty much just where we do any kind of mechanical repairs, anything we need to do day-to-day type operations. I'm going to turn here and walk back to the right, go around these trailers here, and right here where our shop is, we have a large pasture here that we have cattle turned out in. Every one of these cows have calves on them. You'll see me kind of zoom around here and look and see, and this is pretty much where, first thing in the morning, this is where me and my crew meet up to discuss what we're going to do that day, and everybody gets turned around and gets busy. Here's one of our hay fields that we use to cut and bale hay to put up for the winter for cattle to eat. Here's a crop of silage corn. We typically harvest in October, put it up wet, and feed it back to the cattle through the winter. This is a short video of our home site. You can see we have hay cut and ready to bale on one side of the road and pasture with cattle grazing on the other side. I would like to thank you for your time and interest, and God bless.